Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to talk about purchasing various craft technology. And perhaps you are planning for the holidays or you were just looking to up your crafting game. This video should help you when buying craft tech, whether that is a Cricut machine, a laser printer, a sublimation printer, heat press, and so much more. So I am going to divide this video up into sections and we're going to talk about each group of machines and sort of my recommendations around each one. Now, I do have a full blog post along with tables that will help you to compare and contrast in each of these categories. And I will link to that blog post in the description below this video. You just input your email address and you can see all the information along with tables that you can blow up and even print if you want a table with my ratings as well as quick comparison guide. Now, as far as this video, if you want to skip around, I do have this video divided into sections. So if you will scroll along the bottom, like you're going to fast forward, you will see various sections of the video, so you can skip to the section that you would like to watch. We are going to start with a Cricut comparison. So if you are thinking about purchasing a Cricut machine, or if you're thinking about upgrading the Cricut machine you currently own, I'm going to run through the current Cricut machines on the market, my rating, and just some notes about what each of those will do. Now, I do want to note that this will be a very quick comparison and I do have more in-depth information linked on that page that I mentioned. So first of all, with Cricut machines, we are going to start with the Cricut Joy, and I do have my computer here and I'm going to be referencing the charts. So for the Cricut Joy, my rating was 2 out of 5 stars. I just think that it has so many restrictions as far as sizing that I think that it's not usable for a lot of people. Now, it is a very useful machine if you travel with your machine or want to use your machine on the go. I feel like the Cricut Joy is the machine for that. But we're going to move on to Cricut Joy Xtra because that is a 5 out of 5 stars for me, which is sort of why the Joy got a lower star rating. The Joy Xtra, for the additional purchase price, is a much better machine in my opinion. You had print and cut, you get a little larger with that sizing, and to me it is a very good Cricut machine and a great beginner machine for just about everyone. And quite frankly, I use my Cricut Joy Xtra more than any other Cricut machine. I find it does just about everything I need it to do. Next up is the Explorer Air 2, which is the older model of the Explorer. So it gets a 3-star from me just because it's the older model and doesn't have some of the more advanced tech that the Explorer 3 does. The Explorer 3 gets a 4 out of 5 star rating for me. So if you're looking at the Explorer series, I would go with the Explorer 3. Now, the Explorer series and the Joy series basically cuts about the same things. The Explorer goes a little bit thicker than the Joy series. However, if you want to cut common materials like vinyl, cardstock, iron-on, HTV, those type of things, then Joy, Joy Xtra, Explorer Air 2, and Explorer 3 all cut those. Next up is the Maker series, and you might be surprised by my ratings here. So there's the original Maker and the Maker 3, and I actually rate the Maker, or the original Maker, with 4 stars, and the Maker 3 with only 3 stars. And the only reason is because if you can find that original Maker, it comes with a rotary blade in the box. All the other contents are the same and they're practically the same machine. The tech really didn't change a whole lot except for allowing for matless cutting with the Maker 3. And I find I don't use the matless feature that often, so the original Maker for me personally gets a higher score. But I really don't think you can go wrong with either one. So original Maker or Maker 3 will probably get the job done if you want to cut those thicker materials. And then finally we have the Cricut Venture, and that gets a 2 out of 5 stars for me, just because I really feel like it's only for businesses or if you cut really large items. I don't feel like it's applicable to a lot of crafters. However, it is a great machine, and if you are cutting those large items or do need to cut a ton of things at once, then the Venture machine might just be for you. So head down below and grab the link to my comparison page, and on that comparison page I will have linked to a full blog post about each one of those machines. So if you want to get more in depth on any of those machines, I have blog post links as well as purchase links. So if you are ready to purchase any of those, I will have purchase links as well. So now let's move on from Cricut machines to lasers. I feel like that is a natural step for a lot of people. So you start with a Cricut machine and perhaps you are thinking about cutting thicker materials, more intricate cuts. A laser machine is the next sort of step on that journey. So for our laser comparison section, I am going to only compare lasers that I have personally used. There are many, many lasers on the market. The ones that I have personally used are all diode lasers. So all of these machines are going to have the same restrictions in that the materials they cut, they'll probably have trouble with things that are clear, they might have trouble with light colors or things that are blue, cutting those or engraving them because of the nature of a diode laser. So all the lasers that I mentioned might have issues with that. However, the higher wattage you get in the diode laser, I feel like the fewer issues I've had with a lot of those. However, none of the lasers that we're going to talk about, I would not recommend any of them for like clear acrylic and that type of thing. It's just not going to work. So we're going to start with the Glowforge Aura and Spark. Those are the two smaller Glowforge machines. The Aura and the Spark are both a 6-watt diode laser. The Aura is just slightly bigger in size than the Spark. It's almost the same machine, the Spark is a little bit slower. So for me, the Aura gets a 2-star and the Spark gets a 3-star because I feel like even though the Spark is smaller, it makes it way more convenient to move around, and it is a really great beginner laser. I don't mind the smaller size and it's less expensive than the Aura. So I feel like it is a better value for those beginner crafters. And I do feel like a Glowforge is very easy to use for someone just starting out on their laser crafting journey. Then let's move on to xTool. So the two xTool machines that I've reviewed as of the filming of this video are the S1 and the M1 Ultra. I will say that the M1 Ultra is kind of an all-in-one machine. So it is a laser, it is also a craft cutter like a Cricut, it is a printer, you can use pens, there are tons of features of that xTool M1 Ultra that you can use. So it is kind of a multi-machine, but I did put it in the laser category. And I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I do think it is a very good machine, and you could actually use it as an all-in-one and sort of replace your Cricut or not get a Cricut and only use the xTool M1 Ultra. However, I do feel like there were some drawbacks to the machine itself, and the print head, I just wasn't crazy about the printing, so I did rank it a 3 out of 5 stars. The S1 is a 4 out of 5 stars for me, and I do feel like the S1 is a really great machine if you are getting started on laser crafting for a business. It's a great beginner machine, but it's robust enough to work in a business setting, and the sizing is really great. It's a pretty large laser for a diode. So I do really like the S1. Now the M1 Ultra, you can get a 10 watt or 20 watt diode laser, and the S1, you can get a 10 watt, 20 watt, or even a 40 watt diode laser, which is amazing. Plus it has a 2 watt infrared head option that you can add on. With that 2 watt infrared head, you can engrave things like metal. So I do a lot of times look for machines that have that 2 watt infrared head option, just in case you want to engrave on metal and things like that. Next brand we're going to talk about are the WeCreat lasers. So they have the original WeCreat Vision, and then the WeCreat Vista is their new laser. So the WeCreat Vision for me gets a 2 out of 5 stars. I just wasn't crazy about that machine with the auto lift. So that's the ones that auto rises and goes down just depending on the size of your material. While that was a nice feature, I just didn't particularly like the laser itself and how big and bulky it was. And then the tool change was really difficult with that one. They fixed a lot of those issues with the WeCreat Vista, which is the one I would recommend of the WeCreates, and I ranked that a 4 out of 5 stars. The WeCreat Vista has a flippable laser head, so risers really aren't required except in a few odd cases. You can even do rotary tumblers without a riser because the laser head flips and engraves from the side instead of just looking down, which is a very cool and innovative feature. So because of that, I feel like the WeCreat Vista makes a ton of projects without additional expense. A lot of the lasers that I review, you get the base laser and then you have to add on a riser and you have to add on a rotary accessory and you have to add this on and that on to do a wide range of crafts. Whereas the Vista comes with a lot of the stuff that you would need because of that flippable laser head to make a wide variety of crafts right out of the box. So I do feel like it is a great value for the money. So the WeCreat Vision is a 20 watt or 40 watt diode, and then it has the 2 watt infrared option. And the WeCreat Vista is a 10 watt diode with a 2 watt infrared option. So the WeCreat Vista is a lower wattage on power. However, I do really like that laser. And then recently I reviewed a laser from Flux, and that is the Flux Ador. The Flux Ador gets a 3 out of 5 stars from me, and it is a laser as well as a printer, so it adds that printing head. and I must say that the printing on it, I was way more impressed with it than I was with that xTool M1 Ultra. I really liked the printing on the Flux Ador. It actually is a 4-color system, so it adds that black, whereas the xTool M1 Ultra didn't have the black, and I think that made all the difference in the world for those bright colors that really pop. So I did really enjoy working with that one, and I do feel like that is a really well-built machine. Now it is a 10 watt or 20 watt diodes, you choose from those, and then there is a 2 watt infrared option. So I do feel like with the Flux Ador, it's a really well-built machine and it's easy to use. So out of all of those, which should you purchase? It's really going to depend on what you want to make. So on my comparison chart, I have things like what type of laser it is, and I also have the working area, so how big of something could it cut? And then the higher wattage you go in the lasers, the thicker piece that you will be able to cut, the deeper engraving, so you'll be able to do more the higher wattage that you can get. So it's really going to depend on what you want to make, how big your projects are going to be, and then what your budget is, because some of these can get pretty expensive, especially with the add-on options that you might want to add, like rotary accessories, riser bases. Some of them have, you know, extra print heads that you might want to add on. So there are tons of options that you might want to add. So it's really going to depend on those factors. So to help you decide, I actually have a course that's called Laser Ready, and that's laser-ready.com. I will link that in the description below this video. And it sort of walks through the options with lasers. So it kind of helps you decide and sort of narrow down what you would like. And then the chart on this page that I'm going to share with you, it has tons of the features of the lasers that I currently have. And so hopefully that'll help you kind of narrow it down. I will say that all of the brands that I reviewed, I feel like the brands are pretty good. So the brands that I personally have used and reviewed are Glowforge, xTool, WeCreat, and Flux. And I feel like all 4 of those have been really good. So those 4 brands, I don't think you can go wrong. And as always, if you want more information on any of those specific machines, I have those linked on my Craft Tech comparison page, and I will link that in the description below this video. So let's move on to sublimation printers. We're going to talk about a wide variety of sublimation printers in this, including converted, you know, sublimation printers that are intended to be sublimation printers. We're going to talk about all of that. So first of all, with Epson, you can take an Epson EcoTank printer and you can put sublimation ink in it. Now, that comes with a wide variety of issues. That does void the warranty of your machine, so you don't have that warranty and you don't have Epson support. And then it can also create tons of other issues. There are issues with colors with those. I see a ton of color issues, just not getting bright, vibrant colors, not getting the correct colors out of them. They just were not intended to be sublimation printers. And then those printers have maintenance issues as well. So you have to print those regularly, manually, in order to keep the ink flowing. So they can be frustrating for a lot of people. So because of that, I give it a 2 out of 5. Now, does the Epson EcoTank conversion work for a lot of people? Yes, it definitely does. Is that the cheapest option on my list? It definitely is. However, sometimes you get what you pay for, and sometimes when you pay for this conversion, you get way more frustration, whereas if you were to put some more money with it, you might be better off and not have the frustration portion, but it's going to depend on your budget, of course. Next on the Epson list is the Epson F170, and that is a sublimation printer. It's intended for sublimation. It is Epson's version of the sublimation printer. Now, it is only 8.5 inches wide, and they don't have one that is sort of, I'm going to talk about another large format model. There isn't one in the middle, so it's a very kind of small format sublimation printer. It still doesn't have the maintenance. You still need to print that one regularly because it doesn't have that automatic maintenance feature. But I do feel like it is a good printer, good color. I've always gotten good color out of mine, and I gave that one a 3 out of 5 stars. Now, Epson goes up all the way from the F170 to the F570. The F570 is a 24-inch wide, prints on a roll, huge prints. So it is a huge, large format sublimation printer. And as you might expect, it is very expensive as well. So not a lot of people are going to be able to afford that Epson F570. Now they do have a 570 Lite version that comes with a lot less of like the options and accessories that you really don't need. And it is $500 less than the original version. So that might be an option for you if you've been looking at that printer. Now I will say that I don't have the Epson F570, so just kind of going off what I've read, it does seem like it has similar quality to the one I have, which is the Epson F170. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 stars, similar to the F170. Now let's talk Sawgrass sublimation printers. With Sawgrass, you can get an SG500 or SG1000. The difference between those is going to be size. The SG500 is 8.5 inches wide, where the SG1000 is 11 inches wide. Now both of those you can add like an attachment to them, and you can print on a roll, so you can print long prints with your Sawgrass printer. Now Sawgrass printers are more expensive, and the ink is very expensive. Now I do find it lasts a long time. However, you do want to be aware of the cost when you invest in the Sawgrass printer. As long as you leave it plugged in, however, it does its own maintenance, and I've never had an issue with mine. I've left it sitting for long periods of time, then started printing and had no issues at all. Now, I will say that recently people have had tons of issues with their software as well as their customer service, so I dropped their rating down because of recent issues. So the Sawgrass printers, I'm giving a 3 out of 5 stars. Final printer on my list is the Brother SP1. It is a 5 out of 5 stars for me. I've had 0 issues with that printer. I think it's really great, sort of middle of the pricing range. Excellent printer. The only problem is the maximum size that you can print is 8.5 by 14 inches. So it is a small format sublimation printer, and currently, as of the filming of this video, Brother doesn't make a larger format version of this. The ink is sort of mid-price range, but I do feel like it is a very good price for what you get. And again, I cannot use mine for very long periods of time. It runs its own maintenance as long as it's plugged in. And when I'm ready to print on it, I start it up, I print it, no issues at all. So I will say this is my top pick right now for sublimation printers, is the Brother SP1. Now, if you want more information on those printers, you want to deep dive into them before you purchase, head to my Craft Tech comparison guide and click the more information link for each of those printers. You can also find links to purchase each of them. Next up on our list is our heat press comparison. Now, I have reviewed a lot of heat presses, so I'm just going to talk about the heat presses, like the flat heat presses. I do have more links for specialty presses like hat presses, mug presses, tumbler presses, on and on and on. I do have links for more of those on the Craft Tech comparison page, so you can head there for even more. We're just going to talk about just regular presses right here with this comparison chart. So first of all, Cricut presses. Cricut EasyPress. It gets a 4 out of 5 stars for me. I think it's a great beginner press, great upgrade from an iron, a great place to start. Now, there are some restrictions, of course, because you have to sit and hold it. It might be tough to apply heavy pressure, so there are going to be some restrictions, but I feel like the Cricut EasyPress is a very good value, and you get an excellent beginner manual press for the money. Cricut also has the Cricut AutoPress. I'm also giving it 4 out of 5 stars. It's much more expensive, which is maybe the reason it dropped down a little bit. It's a clamshell press. It auto opens. I love the 2-finger closure, so you can close it very easily. I always recommend it to people with hand issues or arthritis. I think it's a great option for those people. Now, it does have an auto pressure, so you can't really do heavy pressure items within it, which is the reason for me it drops down from a 5-star press to a 4. So it is cost prohibitive because it is pricey, and then you can't apply heavy pressure, so you can't change the pressure within the press. Next is the Siser heat press. I've had a Siser heat press for years. It's a very small press. It's a 9x12. If you're looking for a small 9x12 press that is a workhorse that I have used a ton, then the Siser heat press might be for you. Again, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I knocked it down just because of the size, because I feel like a bigger press is much more versatile. But if you're looking for something small, it might be the way to go. It's a clamshell press, and I just feel like it's a great price and a really great size for like smaller craft spaces if you really want a traditional heat press. Next up is HTVRont, and I have reviewed their AutoPress as well as their new manual swing away press. Their AutoPress is odd to me. It's not really a clamshell. It just opens up slightly and then it has a pull-out drawer. So I must say right now, as of the filming of this video, the HTVRont AutoPress is a 2 out of 5 stars for me. There are just too many things I don't like about it. The small opening, the drawer doesn't pull out all the way. I feel like my hands are too close to the heat source. I just really did not enjoy using that press. So for me, it is low down on the list at a 2 out of 5 stars. Their manual press got a 3 out of 5 stars for me. I don't feel like it's sturdy enough for business use, but it is a really great price for those of you that really want a swing away press and a starter type of press. Now, I personally don't like a swing away press because it takes up more space in my craft room that I just don't have. So that is about the only swing away press that I've ever reviewed because I just do not like them. And the 3 out of 5 star rating might reflect my personal opinion as well. Now, both of those are a 15 by 15 press, so they are a very large heating surface. The next one I reviewed is the xTool heat press. It is a 2 out of 5 stars for me. So it's a manual heat press similar to the Cricut EasyPress, and then it comes with a stand that you can put that press on so that you can press with the stand and not have to stand and hold like a manual press. And then the all-in-one kit also comes with a little mini press. I actually really liked the mini press, not so much the stand and the press itself. So it comes with the external controller, and I mean, it works fine. I just didn't feel like it was as sturdy for the price as some of the other presses I have reviewed. But is it good for like a manual press and you could like use your hands for other things while you press? Yes, it is. But probably a lot of the other presses are better value for the dollars that you would spend on the xTool all-in-one heat press. And that xTool press is a 12 by 10. Now the next two heat presses we're going to talk about are Proworld heat presses. The first is a semi-auto heat press that's a 15 by 15, and the second is a semi-auto heat press with a pressure readout that's 16 by 20. Now both of these presses get 5 out of 5 stars for me. The second one, the 16 by 20, the more expensive version, has quite a few more bells and whistles than the other one. However, the 15 by 15 is probably my favorite press I've ever used. I feel like it's a really great size for a craft room. It's really heavy duty, really well built, and really a great price for what you get. So it is an auto open press. So if you're looking for that auto open feature, it has a pull out drawer. So if you want that pull out drawer in order to be able to see what you are working on, and it is a clamshell press, so it takes up less space. For me, the 15 by 15 size is perfect for everything I do, and it's not overly large, so it takes up just a ton of space in my craft room. So it is probably my favorite press right now. However, the one with the pressure readout is amazing. The fact that I don't have to guess at what pressure I'm applying to my projects makes it a 5 star for me, hands down. And it is an auto open press, and then you can flip it and also make it a manual open press. So it's a really great press for your money, but it is a more expensive press because of that pressure readout. I will say that 16 by 20 press, I consider that a top of the line press. So if you're looking to get really a top of the line press, I would look at that one. So again, if you're interested in any of those, head to that Craft Tech comparison guide and you can get more information on any of those presses I talked about, or find purchase links to purchase those. And now let's talk about other printers and technology. So I have quite a few links at the bottom of that page for other printers and technology, and I won't go in depth into any of those, but if you were thinking about purchasing a white toner printer, a DTF printer, a large format printer, just a home printer to use for your crafting, then I have links for that at the bottom of that page. So basically this Craft Tech buying guide is perfect if you were thinking about purchasing anything that plugs in for crafting for the holiday season or any time of the year. So head to my guide and I will try to keep that updated as I review more things, so you can always reference that guide when you're thinking about making a purchasing decision. Whether that's a new to you craft like laser crafting, or you want to upgrade, you started with a Glowforge Spark and you want to upgrade to a different laser, which one should I get, Angie? This page is going to be the resource for you. So head there and explore the page, click the links, and then drop down in the comment section and ask me any questions you have. I am more than happy to sort of guide you on your purchasing decision in the comment section as well. So ask me my advice and I will be happy to give that to you. Now, if you liked this video and it helped you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, head on over to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.